All right, in this video, I want to share with you guys and some of the benefits, but also the reasons why and how I think can actually have a practical carryover to you guys in your life. How I've never taken a week off since roughly, I want to say maybe 16, 17-ish, but once I started doing resistance training, really got the bug for sure in high school. Never took more than a week off. In fact, I would say on the palm of my hand, I've only maybe taken at the most, maybe 5 times have I taken more than 4 days off in a row, but never missed a week off. And whenever I say this, people are actually shocked. First, they'll think like, well, have you never gotten sick before? Which of course I have been sick. Even the times when I've been really, really sick, I will still try to mosey in and do something, whether that's in my home gym here, doing some squats, even counting going for a walk. But I'm a big believer that just sitting there, unless you absolutely have to, not medical advice, of course, for me personally, that it just doesn't, I just find that I just feel like I'm worse, I'm tired, and I don't feel as productive. And this actually I find is definitely true even when I'm not sick. I find that if I take more days off, I feel more sluggish. My metabolism, my appetite, my productivity just is not as good if I kind of consistently come in here and check the box of doing something. So then some people might push back and say, well, you must have a lot of free time, you must have a nice, easy life, to which I would say, I've met many people, myself included, because I'm basically working 2 jobs, more or less, and I still work on the weekends and Saturday, only really take kind of 1 day off. There are many times that come in here, I only have 30 minutes, which I'm about ready to do after I'm recording this video. I'm gonna jump in and do a lower body workout. I'll have 30 minutes, maybe to an hour to squeeze in some time. And even the days that I'm really tired and really sluggish, it could be at the end of the day, I'd come back home from work, I still find, there's actually nighttime sessions I do that, where if I get the body moving and start doing something, I find the energy comes back and I really enjoy what I was doing. But I will say, no question, I do find it as a sincere blessing that I have the ability to actually come in here and work out in my body. I think every workout is gonna be a blessing. Then there's the people that say, well, you should be taking at least a week off. That's crazy. You should be having a deload week. You're gonna be overtraining and your joints, tendons, ligaments are gonna slowly kind of shot and break down, etc. To which I would say, I don't really believe in that mentality. I mean, yes, if you're doing something that's super high intensity, very low frequency training, like going to absolute failure, which I did that experiment a couple of years ago, I actually found the opposite was true. I found that yes, while my progression in the gym went up, throughout the week, my productivity and just my energy levels were much lower. Could have been from the training, but honestly I think it was just from not moving my body. But the easy counter argument to that, just like I said in a couple of videos back about the value of being farmer strong, is that if you look back in past generations, 50, 60, over 100 years ago, people did not have the luxury, or I would say the detriment, to sit down and do absolutely nothing. Some motion creates that kind of inertia and I think is really innate in us to actually go ahead and do those things. And I think more too often people find excuses and cop-outs, whether that's from their schedule, on getting very busy, they just feel sick and tired. Again, not medical advice. Of course, some people legit have for sure good reasons for that. Or they count it as part of their programming, therefore gonna force those days off. Now, some of this could just be personal preference, your own personality type, because I think this is just something that's a part of me. I gotta move my body and maybe I'm a little bit different in that. But I have found that I just feel good all around. And the counter arguments I used to hear, well, like your joints are gonna suffer, you're gonna kind of wear and tear your body, and all of that stuff, I just have found it's the complete opposite when I compare myself to people of my age group and my peers. Everything else feels good, but you can check the last video on how I think you should be training to get around that if you don't get injured and have any setbacks, because that's actually the other part of this, is that luckily I've avoided injuries and hurting myself, and God willing, hopefully that stays the case. Bad things can happen to good people, no question, and sometimes they're just fluke accidents that can happen. So that could happen to me, today or tomorrow, whatever. So I'm grateful that this has not happened. But I have this conversation a lot with people, even when it comes to diet or physiques, and people look at, say, natural trained, I say natural in the sense that they're not taking any kind of hormones or synthetics, and they look at guys and say, how can they look so, youthful looking, they still have their muscles, and they have this kind of size to them. And I said, well, it's not a direct comparison. If you take yourself who took 20 years off, 10 years off, even 5 years up and down, on and off, compared to someone who's been training consistently since they were in high school, and there's some people that literally started in like grammar school, that for sure pays dividends and is compounding over all those years, that it's really just not a fair comparison. And then when you factor in the idea of like just diet and how they can kind of maintain a flat stomach, they can kind of go through periods of eating a lot and losing it very quickly. To me, this goes back to one of the big reasons why I love just doing more frequent exercise. And again, you're not killing yourself, all things considered here, is that I just find the way I eat and my lifestyle it all just kind of flows together where I am not getting to this point of rigorously tracking things. Yes, if I'm trying to lose weight, I might be a little mindful of that, but I feel like it's just this nice, well-oiled machine where I have a decent amount of work output every day. I can then go ahead and enjoy my food and just eat like a normal person. I'm not worried about like just eating chicken and rice. Again, there could be a personality preference to that. Overall, what I'm saying here though is you're creating a way of training that fits in with overall lifestyle factors that in the grand scheme of things, I think we'd all agree the whole point of actually coming in here and exercising isn't just for the physical, but it's also for the mental. But at the end of the day, it's just overall personal well-being and performance. And I think for me personally, I have found that being consistent, moving your body is just part of us just being humans. I think it's something we're meant to do. And finally, and probably the most important and also an ironic point is that I have found that as we've aged, the more you can frequently move your body, the more you're apt to kind of do so. And then if you take days off or time off, it makes it even harder to get up and get that momentum going. So when I talk to somebody who hasn't worked out in 5, 10 years, I've actually known people that retired, they didn't do anything until they got to like 65, 70. It is literally an uphill battle and it's just a slug to kind of keep going. But even if I take 2 or 3 days off and I don't do anything, sometimes it's the opposite happens. I should feel more rested and rejuvenated, but actually it's harder to get back into those workouts. And like I said, those days where I am tired and run down, I get in the gym, give me 5, 10 minutes, put some music on, I'm ready to go. And sometimes those are my best workouts ever, even if I had a long day and maybe some bad night's sleep the night before. Just share my thoughts though, guys. Thought it might be helpful for some of you guys. These are all topics and things I'll get into in more specifics. Just let me know what you want to hear and I'll be happy to deliver on that. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'll see you guys in the next video.